Hello everybody, welcome back to various Oddities Showcase, where I show off all the latest things going on with the various Oddities mud. And over here, we have mostly just Velociraptors here, currently trying to wail on Gilgamesh, the immortal chicken. And we did do a little bit of work recently on the Mega Raptors, so they do actually have a little bit of AI to them right now. They don't form groups by themselves, but they will absolutely join in on groups that Velociraptors have started, as you can see here. So, I guess you could say this is them playing with the kids, or something. These are two different species, they don't breed, they don't lay eggs as anything, but you could say these are like taking the kids hunting, or something. And it's kinda cute, it's very cute. But by themselves, they're just a little bit mean to each other. They'll occasionally like nip at each other's ears and stuff, if they had ears, I guess. Reptilians don't really have ears, but either way. They'll occasionally nip at each other, and otherwise they'll just dogpile, as per usual for Minecraft mobs. But this happened to be a bug that happened on stream, and people liked it so much that for at least the time being I've elected to keep it in here, so yeah. But the main thing that I'm showing off today is a bit more progress on the spell inscribing system. So we already have inscribing using paper, so we can make scrolls in the field wherever we are, as long as we have the right inks, the paper, and the ingredients, and we happen to know the right combination. This conspicuously unmodeled and untextured block is the inscriber's table, and name pending, but it will have a full model, it will look right, and all sorts, and it does open basically the exact same screen that we see when we try to open stuff with our just regular old paper. The distinction being that it can in fact be fed inks via a hopper, and you can also feed it paper. All 5 of these slots are fed from any of the horizontal slots, so north, east, south, west, but not top and bottom. I might change the paper slot to be from the top, but for now it's just anything into the sides. And the other advantage of using an inscribing table, because you can just go through here and you'll just do all the same stuff, it just has a much, more accessible kind of inputs. But if you happen to have an item that has a spell in it, such as a scroll, a wand, or even a spell book, you can use it to actually feed in the combination, and it will immediately show you what the result is. And this is particularly beneficial with spellbooks that can hold more than one spell that you can actually cycle through and control. So here we have Bull Strength currently on this one. If we put that in, we'll get the Bull Strength combination, or we would if there was actually any blue, and that slot is also persistent, so you can just leave something in there if you want to have, say, a spellbook that's just all of your reference for making scrolls and such. But let me just grab the blue, there we are. Blue. And lump. Lump. There we go. So, Scroll of Bull Strength. Again, dev, don't worry about it. Things aren't necessarily going to work. For example, if I try to shift-click anything into this right now, it will definitely crash the game. But yeah, Scroll of Bull Strength. And if I take it out, it resets the whole thing. Put it in. Scroll of Invisibility. And this allows you to very easily not have to remember things, basically. If you can figure it out once, or if you find it as loot, then you can craft it as long as you like, as much as you like. Obviously, you need the XP, you need the materials, you need the inks, that kind of things, but you are nonetheless able to restock your sort of in-the-field spellbooks and such without necessarily having to memorize the actual combination. And that brings us to my next question here, because this is pretty much purely utility. Sure, you get all of your ingredients in the same spot. It doesn't auto-craft because it does need the reagents that you can't feed into via hoppers and such. It does need XP and such. So you can't really just use this as automation, except that it makes it very easy to just sort of go through and make whatever scrolls you like. But there is otherwise no difference whatsoever to just making stuff with paper and ink in your inventory. So, do you think that there should be some kind of limitation to inscribing with just paper in the field that is overcome by using an inscriber's table? And if so, what kind of limit do you think that should be? Should the inscriber's table itself have some kind of limit? For instance, if we have the enchanting table does very, very weak enchantments when it doesn't have any kind of bookcases around it. It's powered up by having bookcases. So should the inscriber's table itself have some kind of boosting block nearby of some kind, should it require bookcases as well. And should there even perhaps be some spells that you cannot inscribe, that you have to find just as loot or some such, or maybe as trades from the merchants and such? So, for instance, we might say that you can only make up to level 3 spells just in your inventory. That includes things like Magic Missile, things like Fireball, that sort of thing. So that's a lot of good spells there that are going to be your kind of bread and butter that you can just make on the fly in the field. But if you want to make something more like Wall of Fire, for instance, you have to come to an inscriber's table and you have to enter in enter in a reference, or otherwise just figure out the combination yourself and cast it up. So that is a question for you guys in the comments section, as it were. And by the way, you can just change this. It will just reset and then just put it back in just happily there. I've also changed it up so that if you leave something inside of here, which I previously had not done, it does get returned to you, not unlike a crafting table. So, yeah, because otherwise it would just delete it entirely, which was not good, obviously. And this does work in server play as well. So, if you wanted, you could make a community area where people just, like, find scrolls and they put them into spellbooks and they bring them along, and you can just have, like, a library nearby with spellbooks with all the spells you like to have and such. So, yeah, that's something you can do. And it will, if, by the way, you have an item with more than one spell, it will take the currently selected one. So before it was Bull Strength, now it's Invisibility. Very handy-dandy. So, hence the use of spellbooks as reference objects for the inscriber's table. Just, yeah, very convenient. Much reduced space compared to just having a whole ton of scrolls. Although, if you did have a whole ton of scrolls in your inventory, you could conceivably just find the right one very quickly, compared to exiting the menu and, like, opening up the spellbook and doing all that sort of stuff. But I like that as, like, a feature. That feels to me like you're turning away from the table to flip through the spellbook and to reference it and then just putting it in, which is nice. But, yeah, so do you think there should be a limit to different means of inscribing? And should there be a way to overcome that limit? And if so, what should it be? Do let me know. And otherwise, that's more or less all I have for you today. So hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time.